Hello and thanks for joining me on today's flight. Today we're flying X-Plane 11 and we're in the King Air B-200 aircraft. And we're going to be flying a short flight from Meade Municipal Airport right here over to Liberal Mid-America Regional right here. It's going to be a very simple flight plan. We're going to fly to the FLAC intersection and then we're going to fly the Victor 234 airway directly to the Liberal VOR. And the purpose of today's flight is to demonstrate flying the DME Arc approach, which is depicted here. This is a 13 DME Arc, which we're going to be flying into the localizer and execute the ILS runway 35 approach into Liberal. Now, today we're going to be flying by hand, and we're going to be flying solely by navigation radios, no GPS. So let's jump in the airplane, get it started, and get on our way.
Doors and windows, closed and locked.
All right, let's go ahead and close the doors, get rid of static elements, verify. All right.
Parking brake set.
All right, parking brake is set. We're going to go ahead and get rid of the flight controls so they don't get in our way.
Landing gear control down.
Landing gear control is down.
Power levers, idle.
Power levers are idle.
Propeller levers, high RPM.
Prop levers, high RPM.
Condition levers, cut off.
Condition levers, cut off.
Pedestal. EFIS power switches off.
EFIS off.
Autopilot and trim switches off.
Autopilot off. Trim switch off.
Cabin pressure switch pressure.
Cabin pressure switch is set to pressure.
Rudder boost switch on.
Rudder boost on.
Pressurization controller set.
Okay, we're going to set that to field elevation, Liberal, which is, let's round that to 2,900. I'm going to go ahead and set this to 2,900 feet. There's 3,000. Go on, 2,900 set.
Copilot sub panel. Cabin signs, off.
Cabin signs are off.
Cabin temperature mode, off.
Cabin temperature mode off.
Blower vent, auto.
Blower vent is right here, set to auto.
Aft blower, off.
Aft blower right here is set to off.
Bleed air valve switches off.
Bleed air valve left and right are off.
Radiant heat, off.
Radiant heat, which is right here, is off.
Copilot air control as required.
Copilot air control is in. We're going to leave it in.
Microphone switch, normal.
Microphone switch, normal.
Oxygen supply pressure, check.
Oxygen supply pressure is good.
Cabin/cockpit air control off.
Air control is off.
Right panel. Circuit breakers, check in.
All in.
Pilot static source, normal.
Set normal.
Left panel. Fuel firewall valves, closed.
Closed left, closed right.
Circuit breakers, check in.
All in.
Standby pumps, on.
Standby pumps on left and right.
Pilot sub panel. All switches, off.
All switches off.
Battery switch, on.
Battery switch on.
Fuel firewall valves, open.
Opening left, right.
Standby pumps, off.
Off left, off right.
Auxiliary transfer override, auto.
Set auto, left and right.
Fuel quantity, check.
Fuel quantity is check.
Annunciator lights, test.
Testing. And all illuminated.
Rotating beacon, on.
Beacon on.
Engine start. Right condition lever, check cut off.
Yeah, it's cut off.
Right engine auto ignition, on.
Auto ignition on.
Right ignition start, on.
Right start on.
Right fuel pressure annunciator light, check extinguished.
It is extinguished.
N1, monitor until stable above 12%.
And we're above 12.
Right condition lever, low idle.
And go into low idle. Set.
ITT and N1, monitor, ITT must not exceed 1000 C.
ITT in the green.
Right oil pressure, check.
Okay, red, yellow, and coming up.
N1, monitor until stable above 50%.
And we're above 50.
Right ignition start, off.
Ignition start off.
Right condition lever, high idle.
And high idle.
Right generator, on.
Right generator is on.
Battery charge annunciator, monitor.
And showing a charge and monitoring.
First engine generator load, check 50% or less.
And we're below 50%.
Left condition lever, check cutoff.
Left condition lever cutoff.
Left engine auto ignition, on.
Auto ignition on.
Left ignition start, on.
Ignition start on.
Left fuel pressure annunciator light, check extinguished.
And it is extinguished.
N1, monitor until stable above 12%.
And we're above 12.
Left condition lever, low idle.
And going to low idle. Set.
ITT and N1, monitor, ITT must not exceed 1000 C.
Okay, we're in the green.
Left oil pressure, check.
Oil pressure in the yellow and coming up.
N1, monitor until stable above 50%.
And we're above 50.
Left ignition start, off.
Ignition start off.
Left and right prop RPM, 1100 minimum.
Okay, showing just over 1500 right. Left is 1000 and 1100 and rising.
Left generator, on.
Left generator on.
Battery charge annunciator, monitor.
And we're monitoring.
Right condition lever, low idle.
Right condition lever coming down to low idle. And set.
After engine start and taxi. Inverters check and on.
Inverters on.
AC-DC power check. AC frequency 380 to 420 Hz. AC voltage 105 to 120 volts.
Check.
DC loads, parallel within 10%.
Parallel within
Avionics master switch, on.
10. Avionics master on.
EFIS power switch on.
EFIS is on.
Trim power switch on.
Trim power on.
Transponder, on and set.
Transponder is on. And we're going to set that. We're going to swap VFR. Today's flight, we're not going to be interacting with air traffic control. Again, it's solely to demonstrate flying the DME Arc. So we're not going to worry about that. It would be, of course, in real life an IFR flight plan. We are flying in IMC today.
Mic selector switch normal.
And mic selector switch set to normal.
Exterior lights as required.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and let's put our nav on recognition on. Taxi light on.
Cabin signs, as required.
Leave those off.
Bleed air valves, open.
Open left, right.
Cabin temperature mode, auto.
Set to auto.
Cabin temperature, as required.
And set.
Pilot's instrument panel check. Condition levers, low idle.
Low idle, check.
Parking brake, release. Engine rune up.
Alright, let's go ahead and get our nav radio set up. So again, today we're not flying GPS. I am going to use my nav2. I'll leave this up for DME. So right now I have it tuned to the Liberal VOR at 112.3. The other frequency I have is 111.3, which is the localizer. Let's go ahead and bring that up. 1113 localizer, 1123 is the VOR. So I'm just going to be looking at the DME here. And when it reaches 13 DME, it's where we're going to be making a left turn. And we're going to fly the Arc all the way into the localizer, which has a final approach course of 354. All right, so we have that set in our nav1 radio, which is right here. I've also got the VOR set up here because we're going to be flying the Victor 234, which is the 057 radial inbound to intercept the Arc. So that's set up here, and then I have the localizer set in standby 111.3, so we're going to switch over to that at the appropriate time so we can fly the localizer and glide slope down to the runway. Again, comms I'm not going to be focused on today, but the the common traffic advisory frequency for both here and Liberal is 122.8. All right, so let's get rid of this.
Avionics and radar, check, radar off on ground.
Okay, radar's off.
Heading bug, set.
I'm going to set the heading bug to, at least for now, for runway heading, which it is set right here to runway heading.
Altitude, set.
Okay, we're not going to be flying the autopilot, but I am going to set 3100 in here just as a reminder of our decision height for this approach, which is 3075.
Cabin pressurization, check and set.
Okay, we are set for field elevation Liberal.
Autopilot, check off.
All right, it's off.
Elevator trim, set second markup position.
Elevator trim, which is right here. Second markup position for takeoff.
Aileron and rudder trim, set neutral.
Set neutral, aileron and rudder.
Flaps, check operation and set. Flight controls, check. Gyro suction gauge, green arc.
Okay, gyro suction gauge, green arc.
Auto feather, on.
Auto feather, on.
Fuel quantity, check.
Rechecking fuel quantity, and we are balanced left and right.
Annunciators, check off.
Okay, all off.
Strobes, on. Ice protection, as required.
Not required today.
Auto ignition, armed.
Auto ignitions are armed left and right.
Takeoff.
Okay, let's go ahead and taxi over to 17. And we are clear. Set park brake. Just going to go ahead and quickly review. So we're going to be taking off 17. We are going to intercept the 057 radial inbound. So let's set the reciprocal of that to make sure the reciprocal is set. To be 237. Set right here. Just want to confirm we have 111123 11. Okay, good there. Okay, so we're going to intercept that radial, make a right turn, track it inbound. We're going to be looking at our DME. Go ahead and turn the nav1 radio on just to confirm. We got Lima Bravo Lima, so we are getting a good signal from the VOR. All right. Okay. So then we're going to be looking at our DME here, 32.75. And the reason I have it up here as well is because I am going to want to switch my nav1 radio over to the localizer, and I can continue to monitor my DME over here on my nav2 radio. So we'll be flying the 13 DME Arc into the localizer, final approach course 354 degrees. All right.
Brakes, full.
All right, let's go ahead and take off. Brakes, taxi light off, landing lights on, and full power. Keep torque within the green arc and release brakes. And we're going to rotate at 96 knots. There's 80, 96, V1, rotate. Positive rate of climb, gear up. I'm going to go ahead and go under the hood here. There's 3,300, looking for 6,000. I'm going to be flying 6,000. I'm going to turn to our 237 heading. $3,800, looking for 6,000. Rate of climb, 1,000 feet per minute, there's 4,000. So right there, we're tracking inbound, the VOR. Watching our DME, right now it's 30 nautical miles. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up, or shrink this down. There's our VOR1. Just get rid of that. 4,500, looking for 6,000. All right, confirm gear up, landing lights off. $4,800. 27 DME. Looking for 13. $5,100. Come right a little bit to intercept that radial. $5,300. $5,600. Sure. Rudder. There's 23. Okay, so the DME Arc calls for 4,600. Right a little bit, intercept that radial. Hold that, there's 6,000. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and descend now to 4,600. Looking for 13, showing 20. Coming right a little bit. All right, we're in a descent, 5,800, looking for 4,600. Should be the radial coming in now. Showing 18. For 13. There's the radial coming in. 16. Coming up on 16. 3 to go. 5,200. Just going to begin my turn at 14 DME so I don't fly through the arc. There's 5,000. Coming up on 14. All right, there's your left turn. Coming up on 4,600. There's 4,600. Want that radiomagnetic indicator to point 90 degrees to the right, and then we're going to maintain 13 DME. Showing 12.9 here. I'm going to go ahead and flip the nav1 radio over to the localizer. I'm going to maintain 4,600. Hold that. So now I'm looking at my DME right here, 13.0. Bring the altitude up a little bit, trim for that. Okay, showing 13.1. I'm going to turn inside just a little bit. Okay, so we're in a slight right turn, keep us inside the arc, showing 13.2. Set final approach course of 354. Okay, showing 13.2 DME, keeping the VOR, the RMI pointed off our right wing, holding 4,600. All right, 13.3, we're going to come inside just a little more. Keep it in a slight right turn. Keep that VOR off our right wing. Looking here, want to maintain 13. Come inside just a little bit, maintaining 4,600. Localizer set in our nav1 radio. Okay, showing 13.2 DME. Keep it in a slight right turn, maintain 4,600. It's 13.2. Localizer hasn't come alive yet. Turn right a little bit here, showing 13.3. Turn right just a little bit. Localizer hasn't come alive yet. Still looking right here. .2. Keeping that RMI pointed off the right wing. That's our final approach course. We should start to see the localizer as this final approach course indicator gets close to our VRR1. 13.1, I'm going to shallow that turn out a little bit. Keep from flying inside the arc. Okay, showing 4,600. .0. Keep it in a slight right turn, maintaining 4,600. 12.9. Shallow that out a little bit. Showing 12.9. Go ahead and turn the landing lights on. Showing 12.9. There's the localizer, just came alive. Okay, there's the Morse code identifier for the localizer, ILBL. Showing 13.1, slight right turn. .2, come right a little bit. Localizer should be coming in fairly soon. Showing 13.4, I'm going to turn right a little bit. Let's bring that down just a tad. looking for the localizer. Should be coming in pretty soon here. I'm going to turn to 354. Okay, there's glide slope. Okay, showing 13.3 DME. There's the localizer. Making a right turn. Started descent to 4,300. Want to intercept that localizer. There's 4,300. I'm going to hold that. And just bring that localizer back in. Altitude down just a tad. Looking for the localizer. It's coming back in. Left turn. There's 4,300. Let's hold that until we intercept glide slope. Okay, we're going to go ahead and lower landing gear. Okay, we're on the localizer. Holding 4,300 until we intercept the until we're on glide slope. Okay, there's the localizer. I'm going to hold that. Okay, we're watching glide slope right here. Get rid of this. Okay, landing lights are on. Back up to 4,300. I'm going to go ahead and lower the first flap setting. Ballooning a little bit, so I'm going to bring the nose down. That's from the flaps, compensating for that right now. Watching glide slope. And localizer, 4,300. I'm going to hold that. Glide slope starting to come in. Watching glide slope, localizer. Good on localizer. Glide slope's coming in. Start a slow descent. Again, looking for 3,075. That's the outer marker. Pull power back a little bit. Stay on glide slope. Okay, we're good on localizer. Just a tad bit high. Pull power back a little bit. Okay, glide slope's coming back in, looking for 3,075. set our final flaps. The approach, compensating for the ballooning. Coming left, stay on localizer. And we're going to land right at, try to land right at 102 knots. Coming left, glide slope's coming back in. Okay, localizer's coming back in. Just a little bit low. Turn it right. $500 AGL. Get that glide slope back in. There it is. Bring it down. Get that glide slope back. And we're going to come out from under the hood here. With any luck, we'll break out of these clouds here pretty quick. There's the runway. Just slightly off glide slope there on final. Flaps up. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. And we'll take this first taxiway. We'll taxi in and take a look at our ground track and do a quick debrief. Left or right. Off. Right. Master avionics off. Power down. Okay, let's take a look at our ground track and see what we did or didn't do right. Okay, so here's our takeoff. Here's where we intercept the radial and fly the radial inbound. This is where we intercept the ARC, 13 DME Arc, and maintain or attempt to maintain 13 DME all the way in to until we intercept the localizer. The final approach course of 354. This is the locator outer marker, which is also an NDB. And then on into runway 35. The only thing I was a little uncomfortable with there was toward the very end. I was pretty good on glide slope and localizer until maybe a half mile out or less. And then I got a little bit off localizer and had to make that last minute adjustment on final approach. Let's take a quick look at our all right, so we're just going to look at the last little bit. We came out of the clouds. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we're good. Well, that's not really showing us the data we need in the replay. Let's go fast forward here. That's 4,200. That's the flaps, a little bit of ballooning there. Just barely come out of the clouds. I know we're still under the hood here. Not quite yet out of the clouds. And it's 4,000. Having him fast forward here now. That's 3,300, 3,200. Yeah, that's that last little bit. Had to compensate. All right, back in the airplane. Well, again, I hope you were able to glean something of use from the short flight that we did today. It's always good for me to practice, particularly getting away from GPS navigation and use navigation radios. It really keeps the skills sharp, particularly when you do it flying by hand. So again, thanks for joining me on today's flight, and look forward to seeing you all next time.